Hey guys, it's Libby, and today I'm going to be talking about the process of getting a tattoo from beginning to end. So hopefully this video will be really helpful for those of you who don't have a tattoo yet, who want to get a tattoo. However, if you do already have a tattoo, feel free to keep watching. I won't be mad about it. So before I dive in though, I just want to say that I'm not a tattoo artist myself, nor have I ever worked in a tattoo shop. However, my first tattoo was like 4 years ago, and I have like 12 plus tattoos. I've had countless appointments to get those tattoos, so I'm pretty familiar with the process. That all said, let's dive in. So when you've decided you're ready to get a tattoo, the first thing you need to decide is whether you're going to schedule an appointment with an artist or if you're going to do a walk-in at a shop. First, I'm going to talk about the path of making an appointment. So I want you to first note that not all tattoo artists are available to tattoo you all the time. Some tattoo artists will book in a few month increments, only a few months out. Some tattoo artists will book like 6 months out. Some of them are booking like a year out. Some of them aren't booking at all because they're so busy. You'll see it referred to as their books being open or books being closed. If they're open, that means that they are scheduling new appointments. If they're closed, they're not taking any requests right now. So just keep that in mind. So first things first, you need to find your artist. So the way I find most of my artists is just through Instagram. I do a lot of digging and searching on Instagram, looking at different shops nearby, looking at different profiles and such. But another place you can look is Facebook, and you can also just Google like tattoo shops near me, and then the web page for the different tattoo shops near you will likely have portfolios of the artists that work there, so you can see what kind of work they do. When you are finding an artist, find an artist who does the style you're looking for. If you want like a hyper-realistic portrait of your grandmother, don't contact a traditional tattoo artist who doesn't do that. You know, there's no point. So look for somebody who does the style that you want. The next thing you need to do is find out how they're booking. So most artists will book either through email, Instagram DMs, or Facebook DMs sometimes, or you'll call the shop, or sometimes they'll have an assistant that you contact. From what I've heard, it can be very annoying and frustrating for an artist to receive a bunch of DMs about booking when they've made it clear that they only book through email inquiries, or maybe they're not booking at all and people are emailing them. That's annoying. Wouldn't that be annoying to you? So make your best effort to find out A, are they booking right now, and B, how do they want me to book? Because if you do it the right way, they will appreciate it. Now when it comes time to send an inquiry to an artist, there are a few things you should include in your message. The first thing, obviously, is a description of your idea. What do you want? If the artist does color and black and gray work, make sure you specify that you want it color or black and gray. If they do multiple styles and you're looking for a specific style that they're doing, let them know that too. Another thing you should include is the placement of the tattoo, and you need to be specific. Don't just say, I want a rose on my arm, okay? What part of your arm? There's so many different parts of your arm, you know? Say, so if you wanted a rose right here, say, I want a rose on my inner left forearm, you know? Just be as specific as you can be, and that'll make the whole process go a lot smoother. You also need to include the approximate dimensions of the piece you're looking to get. So if you want something that's like this big on your arm, go grab you a ruler or a measuring tape and, you know, freaking measure your arm, okay? Just make this easier on the artist. Don't make them have to like interrogate you to find out what you want, you know? So just give them what they need. Some artists may ask for a photo of the area that they will be tattooing. That can be helpful so that they can see your specific anatomy. Like when I got my sternum tattooed, then I did have to send a picture of my chest with my nipples like drawn out, just so that he could see like how my chest looked, to see what kind of piece would fit in there, you know. Additionally, they might do it if you're like working around different tattoos that are already there. It can be helpful to show them a picture of the body part, but not all artists require that. The last thing you should include is any reference photos that you have of what you're kind of shooting for. Maybe you see a rose in one photo that you like and then the background of another photo that you like, or something like that. So just send them reference photos so that they've got the best idea of what you're looking for, because otherwise it's so vague. Like a rose, okay, there's like a billion ways to make a rose, you know? So if you've got a specific thing in mind, give it to them. And the last thing I want to say about messaging your artist is to ask them if they're interested. They do not have to say yes to your idea. They do not have to work with you. So don't say, when can I schedule? Say, are you interested in this? If so, when can I schedule? You know, so just be nice about it. they're not obliged to work with you. So be nice. The next step after you've sent that message is to wait. Some tattoo artists, especially super popular tattoo artists, take a while to get back to you because they've got a lot of inquiries, or maybe they only respond on certain days of the week or certain days of the month or something like that. So just keep in mind that you need to be patient with this process. Now, when they do have the chance to answer you, hopefully they will answer you even if it's a no, just so that you know. But if they say yes, they should tell you what their rate or the price of the piece should be. If the piece is really small and it takes like no time at all, less than an hour, you know, then they might just charge you what the shop minimum is. And that can be anywhere from like $50 to like $150 is kind of what I've heard. Although I'm sure there's like expensive parts of the country and world where it'll cost more. If it's a bigger piece, they might be able to quote an approximate price for you, or maybe they'll just give you what their hourly cost is in addition to how long they think the piece should take. But really, they cannot guarantee you a specific price some of the time, and you just need to accept that. Come with a little extra cash in your pocket just in case, you know, and you'll be fine. So whatever your quoted price is, you need to remember that it is customary and, in my opinion, expected to tip on your tattoo appointments as well. I typically tip 15 to 20% per session. So if it's a piece that takes multiple sessions, I will tip at each and every session. So yes, tattoos are already very expensive, but if you can't afford to tip on top of it, you shouldn't be getting the tattoo at that time. You should wait until you have more money to tip your artist. It's kind of like how people say, if you can't tip your waitress at a restaurant, you shouldn't be eating out, you know? So it's the same kind of idea. You should tip. The next thing I want to say is that the artist might ask for a deposit to secure your appointment. That is not uncommon. That is not a scam. It just is part of tattooing, especially when you've got a larger piece. There's a few reasons why your artist might do this, but just remember that that deposit will go towards the cost of your tattoo. If your tattoo is in multiple sessions, usually it goes towards the cost of the final session. I do want to add that you should not expect to see your tattoos sketch or stencil or anything like that before you arrive at the shop on the day of your appointment. But fast forward, the day of your appointment has arrived. So one very important thing to do is to arrive on time or a little bit early. Additionally, you should eat and drink beforehand because your body is gonna go through some trauma and it needs blood sugar and such to like power through. If you can, avoid blood thinning medications like ibuprofen. I know the tattoo's gonna hurt and you wanna take some ibuprofen, but avoid that, otherwise you'll be bleeding more. Other substances include alcohol, that's a big one, so try to avoid alcohol like the night before and the day of and stuff. There are topical numbing creams out there. However, if you want to use one of those, I definitely recommend asking your artist to make sure that they're cool with it, because, you know, maybe it's kind of a weird one that does weird things, I don't know. So just ask your artist. When you get there though, you will fill out a few forms, sign a few forms, and you will give them your ID. Oftentimes the artist will print out a sketch of the design in a few different sizes. That way you can figure out what fits that portion of your body the best. Now, if you get there and you see the drawing or the sketch or the stencil or whatever and you don't like it, speak up. I know if it's your first appointment, you're kind of timid, maybe a little bit unsure, you don't want to like be extra or whatever, speak up, okay? Because you don't want to get a tattoo that you hate or that you see a part of and you're like, ugh, I hate that part of it, you know? So if you see something specific you don't like, bring that up to the artist. Maybe they can adjust it and you're good to go. Bigger changes though might require just rescheduling your appointment to another day so that the artist has more time to work on it. But it's really important that you speak up. If you don't like it, please say something. After you have approved the design and picked the size, the artist will then turn the sketch or drawing or whatever into a transferable stencil. At that point, the artist will wash the part of your body that's gonna be tattooed on and will shave it with a little razor. And I just wanna say that it is okay to be picky about the placement of this tattoo. If it looks crooked to you, if it turns out to look a little bit too big for the area, whatever it is, if you see it and you're like, that's just not right, tell them, okay? Tell your artist and you guys can work on it to fix it and make the right size or the right tilt or whatever, you know? Because again, you don't want to be stuck with a tattoo that you look at and you're like, yep, that's crooked, you know? So just be honest and open. Once you're satisfied with the stencil though, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to dry before they can start tattooing on it. A lot of artists take this opportunity to set up their station by getting out the inks and the needles and the guns and all that fun stuff and paper towels. the liquidy saline or soap or whatever it is, the Vaseline or whatever the fuck it is. They get all their stuff ready. All the furniture that you're going to be touching with like an open wound, so if you're getting your arm done, there's probably an arm stand, that should be like wrapped in plastic or paper. Additionally, I usually see that the gun itself has some like plasticky wrap on it too, just to keep it clean between clients. All of your needles should be brand new out of a package, which is very important to not transmit diseases between clients. And also, artists should be wearing gloves during the tattooing. So those are just some like health and safety things to look out for. If you get there and the needles are already out, there's a good chance that if it's a reputable shop and stuff, they're brand new clean needles, you know. But, you know, if you really feel better about seeing them open it, you could say that. Your health and safety is the most important thing in this little situation. So, yeah. But if you're going to a reputable and popular shop in your area that doesn't cost like 20 bucks for a tattoo, you know, then they're probably going to take care of all of that. You know, there's like a board that like certifies these places to do what they do. They should have like the right licensure or certification, approval, whatever, registration, I don't know. But they do get like approved or whatever. So if it's a good shop, you should be fine. But avoid sketchy places. But after that, it's time to tattoo. Some tips I have for you are to sit still, to breathe, and to distract yourself. You can practice meditation, some grounding techniques, whatever you need to get through it, do it. If you need to tap out for the day or just take a break, speak up, okay? Because if you feel like you're gonna pass out and then you pass out in their chair, I don't know if they'll continue your tattoo, you know? So if you're feeling not good, please take a break. However, if you're finding that you need to take a ton of breaks, try to push through it unless it feels like a health concern, you know, just because it's very inconvenient for the artist to have to stop every 5 minutes, you know what I mean? So do your best to power through, but if you feel like your health and safety is at risk, please say something. But once the tattoo is completed, the artist will typically wash it, wipe it down, all that fun stuff. They'll usually take a picture of it for their portfolio if they want, and then they'll wrap it up. So from my experience with tattooing, there have been 2 types of wraps used on me. The first one is just a basic plastic wrap that you like use in the kitchen and stuff. So they just wrap that around your tattoo. So if it's your arm, they just like wrap it around your arm. If it's your chest, they like cut a little piece, then they'll tape it to you or tape it around your arm or whatever, to keep it in place, obviously. So with that plastic wrap, typically you'll leave it on for a couple hours and then you'll remove it, you'll wash your wound and you'll apply ointment to it. And then at that point you begin the aftercare process. Now if your artist is using Saniderm, which I personally prefer because it makes the healing process so much easier, basically it's just another like plasticky wrap stuff. They cut out a piece to fit you and it will adhere to your skin, and that'll stay on anywhere from like 3 days to a week. It really just depends which artist you're talking to. Some of mine have told me, oh yeah, take it off after 3 days. Another one's like, keep it on for a week. And I'm like, okay. Whenever that 3 to 7-ish days, whatever, is up, you will remove the Saniderm and then you will resume aftercare like normal. Your tattoo artist should explain aftercare to you, especially if it's your first tattoo, and if they don't, ask them. One note that I have for you is do not pick your tattoo, okay? If you pick your tattoo, you are pulling the scabs out, which is pulling the ink out, which is damaging the look of your tattoo, obviously. So do your best to avoid any scratching, itching, stuff like that. When it does get itchy, apply your moisturizer or your ointment or whatever you're using just to kind of like, you know, moisturize the area, and that kind of helps with the itch a little bit. So yeah, don't put any more topical stuff on though, like hydrocortisone or something. Don't put that on, I don't think. I think that's probably a bad idea. Yeah. And the last thing I'll mention about the tattooing process is that sometimes a completed tattoo does need a touch-up. That does not mean you had a bad tattoo artist necessarily. Sometimes it does, but hopefully the shop that you went to does give you free touch-ups for like the year following your tattoo date. That's typically the policy that I see. So you can usually get a free touch-up for your tattoo. Now switching gears to if you decide to do a walk-in appointment. For a walk-in, I highly recommend you call ahead just to see if they're accepting walk-ins, because so many shops don't, or they're busy that day or whatever. So don't waste your time just showing up. Give them a call and say, hey, are you doing walk-ins today? They say yes, you go walk in. If you really want to just walk in, you can, but you might just be told no when you could have just called. When it comes to doing walk-in tattoos, I highly recommend going to a popular and reputable shop in your area, okay? I cannot stress that enough. Don't just find some random shop Okay, look on Google, see if they're any good, you know, like if they're a bad shop, you're gonna get a bad tattoo, definitely, if you haven't done your research. So at least know if it's a good shop, all right? Additionally, I recommend getting only very basic things done at a walk-in appointment. I've only had a couple of walk-in tattoos, and to be honest with you, they've all turned out pretty bad despite being basic. So like one example of a walk-in tattoo is my fingers. Hopefully it'll focus, there you go. It's kind of hard to tell on camera just because it's kind of far away, kind of small, you know, but these dots, they're not all evenly spaced apart, and I'm big on balance and symmetry, so that kind of bothers me. I thought this would be super simple. I'm like, just put some freaking dots on my fingers, right? Like, you know how to make things the same distance apart. I figured that was implied, but the artist did not do that. And I have had them touched up since that first appointment with them because it was so bad, but touched up twice actually. But what can I say? So personally, I don't have good experience with walk-ins. I know other people do, but really, do I recommend doing walk-in appointments? No. Like, I know it's really fun to just be impulsive and go get a tattoo, but you might end up really regretting it. So just keep that in mind. If you do go do a walk-in tattoo though, like I said, it's a good idea to call ahead, find out if they're doing walk-ins. If they are, go in. You'll meet the artist who's available, you'll tell them your design idea, they'll draw it up, they'll show it to you, they'll size it out, they'll print the stencil, and then they'll apply it to you, and the steps from there are the same. So, yeah. I do want to mention that it is completely normal to be nervous, especially if it's your first tattoo. But really, it's okay to be nervous for any of your tattoos. It's fine. If it's your first tattoo or your 20th tattoo, whatever, don't worry about walking in and seeming like the cool dude who's like a professional at this or whatever. Be yourself, okay? If you're weird, if you're dorky, don't feel like you need to like be some macho tattoo guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much stereotype associated with tattooing that if you look at the reality of life, it's not like that. But, you know, just be yourself, okay? Be personable, be nice, and you'll be fine. If it is your first tattoo, feel free to tell them that, and as they're doing things, maybe they will take more time to tell you what they're doing so you know what to expect and all that. Another thing I want to say is that if you meet your tattoo artist and the vibe is weird, it's okay to back out. If you put down the deposit, you'll lose the deposit, but it's better than like getting tattooed by someone that you're super unsure of. Personally, when I was planning on my first tattoo, I was gonna get it done by my cousin's boyfriend at the time. He was super popular on Instagram. I'm like, oh, this will be great, you know, all that fun stuff. However, I had never met him before when I scheduled the appointment, paid the deposit, all that fun stuff. And then after that and before the tattoo appointment, he came to my family's house for Thanksgiving to spend it with us because my cousin and stuff. And he was so weird about it. He acted like he had no idea that I was gonna get tattooed by him. Then he kind of like condescended my idea that I gave him that I wanted. It just felt super weird, and I hate the guy anyways at this point, but it felt weird. So I backed out, and I'm very glad I did. So keep that in mind. Or if you see the drawing and you're like, that ain't the one, back out, okay? Like, if it's not something that can be modified into what you're looking for, back out. That's fine. You might lose some money, that's fine. You might irritate the artist, that's fine. This is a permanent piece of thing on your body, so make sure you like it. But that's all I gotta say. So I hope this video was helpful and maybe calmed your nerves, gave you a little information, all that fun stuff. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. So good luck on your first tattoo or your 20th tattoo, whatever it is. Bye guys.